Today we're going to be talking about the life cycle of a star. There are two different types of life cycles. One for objects that are low to medium size in mass, and then one for very massive stars. But both start off the same way, in huge clouds of matter that we call nebula. There's a nebula. Whenever objects start to get greater in mass, they start to attract each other, which is called due to gravity. Whenever it attracts enough of matter, it'll form into a protostar. And as it keeps getting more and more mass and it starts to get more compact, it'll form into a main sequence star. This is whenever fusion starts to occur. Fusions whenever objects collide into each other, forming massive amounts of energy. It's mostly done with hydrogen. This is where the similarities starts to differ. One, with the objects with low to medium in their mass will form red giants. And then they'll keep expanding, and they'll get out of their equilibrium and just keep expanding until their outer shells just keep expanding too much and then go off into a planetary nebula. And only leaving its core. Whenever it's left with its core, it's called a white dwarf. And then over billions of years, it'll cool and turn into a black dwarf. But for objects that are great in mass, for stars, they pull a different route. They form supergiants. They form supergiants. And then, at the very end of its supergiant phase, it'll explode in a supernova. After the supernova, what happens is it condenses back into a neutron star. These are objects that their protons and electrons fuse together to form mostly neutrons, so it's only neutrons, so it's making it extremely dense. But if the object has extreme amount of mass, it'll go down a different route. It'll form a black hole. And then black holes are objects that are extremely dense and have massive amounts of mass. Its gravitational pull is so great that objects, not even light, can escape. So it just gets sucked up into its singularity. And that's pretty much the life cycle of a star. Okay, an overview of the life of a star. First off, they all start off in the nebulas. They go into a protostar, gather mass, and then they go to main sequence to start fusion. Low to medium mass starts off and goes off to a red giant, then gets out of its equilibrium. Then its outermost parts go off into a planetary nebula, forms a white dwarf from the remains of its core, cools off, and goes into a black dwarf. massive stars go off into huge supergiants, explode into supernovas. The lower end of the massive stars will form neutron stars, and then a few massive stars will go into form black holes, which light cannot escape. Thank you for watching.